Today we're diving deep into the heart and soul of Croatia. We'll explore its vibrant people, rich culture, and storied history. From ancient traditions to modern innovations, this country has it all.
My name is Ryan, and I can't wait to share all the fascinating details.
Did you know that Croatia is not only known for its breathtaking landscapes, but also for being the birthplace of one of the world's most famous dog breeds? You'll learn which kind of dog and at least 101 more facts throughout the video.
Let's do this.
Get up, stretch my legs.
Croatian innovation runs deep and has contributed to many things in the global community. Here are a few of the highlights. The necktie, used by professionals around the globe, was introduced to the world by Croatian mercenaries fighting for the French in the 30 Years' War. The Parisians saw the small knotted neckerchiefs, and instead of feeling respect or fear, they immediately thought, fashion statement. France's Louis XIV began wearing a lace necktie around 1646, setting the fashion for French nobility, and the rest is history. How the Croatian mercenaries could fight with a piece of fabric lightly choking them is something I could not figure out.
From being firehouse pets to battling Cruella de Vil, Dalmatians are one of the most recognizable dog breeds on the planet.
The first known reference to the Dalmatian is from 1375 when Peter, Bishop of Dakovo, mentioned a hunting dog found in the Croatian region of Dalmatia, with short white hair and black round spots. Known fire station loiterers, the concept of Dalmatians working as firehouse dogs goes back to when firemen relied on actual horsepower to get to fires. Dalmatians were chosen because they got along well with the horses and they could be trained to run in front of them to clear a path to the fire. Today you run in front of fire engines at your own risk. Speeding things up, the electric speedometer was invented by Croatian inventor Josip Belosic in 1887. The original had a pointer and a magnet and used the newfangled discovery of electricity to make it work. While the concept of torpedoes have been around since the Middle Ages, it was Croatian Jovani Lupus who headed the commission to figure out how to make it self-propelled. In 1864, Lupus was introduced to British machine engineer Robert Whitehead, who was able to help make it work.
Naturalized Croat Slavoljub Penkala is credited with the development of the mechanical pencil,
then called an automatic pencil. Collaborating with an entrepreneur by the name of Edward Moster, he started the Penkala Moster Company and built a pen and pencil factory that was one of the biggest in the world at the time. The company, now called TOZ Penkala, still exists today. After emigrating to Argentina, Ivan Vucetic invented the equipment for taking and archiving fingerprints, a tool that has been used to catch criminals ever since. His breakthrough has led to the solving of millions of crimes around the world. While the concept of psychology has been around for thousands of years, the name psychology has only been around since the 16th century. It was first used by the Croatian humanist Marko Marulic in his book Psychology on the Nature of the Human Soul.
We haven't even mentioned the contributions of Nikola Tesla yet.
I'm saving him for the people section. And finally, a more recent innovation, the sea organ was created by architect Nikola Basic. The experimental musical instrument makes sounds using sea waves and tubes located underneath a set of large marble steps. It can be found in the ancient coastal city of Zadar. Bucket list! Zadar is also said to have the most beautiful sunset in the world according to Alfred Hitchcock. Bucket list squared. Despite being located in the ethnically diverse region of the Balkans, over 90% of the people living in Croatia are native Croats. The remaining population is mostly made up of Serbs, with the rest coming from other nearby countries.
The population of Croatia is decreasing due to the average Croatian woman having less than 1.5 children during her lifetime.
That's one of the lowest fertility rates in the world. The average age for a first-time and likely only-time mother is 29. Croatian is the official language of Croatia, but around 80% of the country speaks a second language, most often English, German, and Italian. A definite help for anyone looking to visit. In terms of people,
the most famous and globally impactful Croatian is Nikola Tesla, a scientist that is claimed by both Croatia and Serbia.
Croatians mention Tesla was born in Croatia, and Serbians point out that he was an ethnic Serb. Both countries have valid points. Who's right? That's a great question you can answer in the comments. Either way, Tesla's greatest innovation was the development of alternating current, which provides electricity to homes and buildings. Thanks, Tesla. He was also the first to develop fluorescent bulbs, paved the way for the invention of X-rays, developed the use of remote control, and may or may not have invented the radio. Rudiger Bošković was an 18th century Renaissance man who produced a precursor to atomic theory. He also created the first procedure to determine the equator of a revolving planet and discovered the absence of atmosphere on the moon. Bošković also saved Michelangelo's work in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome by coming up with a plan to stabilize the dome and prevent its collapse.
Voted the greatest Croatian by the readers of the Croatian magazine Nacional,
Josip Broz Tito served as the Prime Minister of Yugoslavia from 1945 to 1953 and as President of Yugoslavia from 1953 until his death in 1980. He played a key role in the unification of Yugoslavia, led the resistance against Nazi occupation, and was one of the founders of the non-aligned movement. Other notable Croats include Anthony Francis Lucas, who was a Croatian-born American who gained international recognition for his famous spindle-top discovery of oil in Texas. In 1617, 65-year-old Fausto Veranzio became the first man to build and test a functioning parachute when he jumped from St. Mark's Campanile in Venice. Think of how confident you have to be in your invention to do that.
Roman Emperor Diocletian was born in modern Croatia and came to power in 285 AD.
He made many reforms which are still common today in modern societies and founded the city of Split. His palace will be highlighted in the UNESCO section of the video. Famous Croatian athletes include Euro NBA pioneers Toni Kukoc and Drazen Petrovic, and Ballon d'Or winner Luka Modric, one of the greatest footballers on the planet. In terms of location, Croatia is on the Balkan Peninsula and is identified as part of Central and Southeast Europe. Land-wise, it's a bit smaller than the U.S. state of West Virginia and slightly bigger than its neighbor Bosnia and Herzegovina. Besides Bosnia, Croatia is bordered by Serbia in the east, Slovenia in the west, Hungary in the north, and Montenegro and the Adriatic Sea to the south.
There are 4 main historical regions in Croatia.
The first is Croatia proper. The largest and central region of Croatia, it is home to the capital city of Zagreb and straddles the boundary between the Dinaric Alps and the Pannonian Basin. It also holds over 50% of Croatia's population. Dalmatia holds much of the Croatian coastline and stretches from the island of Rab in the north to the Bay of Kotor in the south. It's also home to several of Croatia's most important historical places and tourist destinations, including Dubrovnik and Split. Slavonia makes up the majority of inland eastern Croatia and was once its own kingdom. It's located in the Pannonian Basin. And last but not least, though it is the smallest, is Istria. It's mainly made up of the Croatian part of the peninsula of the same name. Pula is its largest city and sits at the peninsula's southern tip.
We'll be exploring Pula's famous amphitheater later in the episode.
In terms of human geography, most Croatians live in the northern half of the country, with approximately a quarter of the populace residing in and around the capital of Zagreb. Croatia is home to over 1,000 islands, though most are uninhabited. Hvar and Korčula receive most of the visitors of all the islands, but the most famous may be Glašnek, also known as Lover's Island due to its shape looking like a heart. Aww. And finally, Ludbreg boasts of being the center of the world with actual rings in their town square to prove it. This claim stems from a 19th century Swiss doctor's geographical doodling, which showed that several significant cities were of equal distance from Ludbreg. Hence, he declared the town to be the center of the world. Now let's center our focus on the people with Croatian heritage living abroad.
I got blessings falling on me. I got weapons.
There are as many ethnic Croats living outside of Croatia as there are living inside the country.
The largest community is the Croats of Bosnia and Herzegovina, where they are one of 3 constituent ethnic groups in the country. Croats make up the 6th largest ethnic minority in Germany. Most live in the regions of Baden-Württemberg and Bavaria. Croatians are known to migrate overseas, with the largest population found in the United States, with an estimated 1.2 million Croatian Americans. The highest concentration is in Pennsylvania, specifically in Pittsburgh.
Here's an interesting fact that might pique your interest.
Did you know that Croatian Americans played a crucial role in securing Croatia's victory in the Croatian War of Independence? They provided substantial financial aid and advocated for American involvement in the conflict. Croatians have a long-standing history in Canada, with records dating back to as early as 1541 when 2 Croatians served on Jacques Cartier's voyage. Today, there are nearly 115,000 Canadians of Croatian descent. Croatians have also made a significant impact in Chile, who has one of the largest Croatian communities outside of the Balkans. Many Croatian Chileans have found success, including the nation's current president, Gabriel Boric.
Over 250,000 people of Croatian descent live in Argentina.
In all, there have been 3 waves of Croatian immigration to the country, the most recent after World War II. The first 2 were for economic reasons, with the third being political. There is also a sizable Croatian population in the countries of Oceania, with over 100,000 living in Australia. Croatian influence can be found in the Australian sporting world, with many football clubs being formed by immigrants.
Over 100,000 New Zealanders have a Croatian background.
Many Croat immigrants found work in the Northland gum fields, where they found common ground with the native Maori people. This led to many Croatian men marrying Maori women, and today many Maori have Croatian family names, finding love in the gum fields. Notable people around the world with Croatian ancestry include New Zealand musical artist Lorde, Australian actor Eric Bana, Argentinian football legend Diego Maradona, and former Argentinian President Nestor Kirchner. Canadians of Croatian descent include singer Michael Bublé and Robert Herjavec of Shark Tank fame. He was born in Croatia. And in what cannot be a coincidence, 3 of the most successful American football coaches of all time, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, and Pete Carroll, all have Croatian heritage.
I know I'm missing a ton of people. I can't name them all, folks.
I didn't even include Wheel of Fortune's Vanna White, or legendary traveler Marco Polo, or Mario Andretti.
The great yellow sun is reflecting in your deep blue eyes.
Croatian cuisine blends Mediterranean, Central European, and Balkan flavors, resulting in delicious and diverse dishes.
In terms of ingredients, Croatia's fresh seafood, olive oil, and wine, specifically from Istria and Dalmatia, are world famous.
There are some regional differences regarding the food, but most dishes can be found all across the country with local variants. Some of the most popular Croatian dishes include peka, a slow-cooked meat or fish dish prepared under a bell-shaped lid with potatoes and vegetables. Octopus salad made with cooked octopus, onions, garlic, parsley, and olive oil. And pleskovica, a grilled meat patty made of beef and pork, often stuffed with cheese and served in a bun. A few ingredients originate from Croatia, most notably maraschino cherries and Zinfandel grapes, which produces wine of the same name. And finally, Croatia is one of the best countries to go truffle hunting. Istria is renowned for its black and white truffles. Local families have hunted them for generations, and you can too. All you need before venturing into the forest is a guide and a skilled dog, who use their noses to track down the elusive treats.
The government of Croatia is a parliamentary republic, and its capital is Zagreb,
which doubles as the nation's largest city. Croatia is led by its president, who serves 5-year terms and acts as head of state and commander-in-chief of the military. The current president is Zoran Milanovic, who has served in the role since 2020. He lives in the presidential palace in Zagreb. The prime minister, or head of government, is nominated by the president from among candidates of the most represented political party. The current prime minister is Andrej Plenković. Croatia has a one-house parliament called the Sabor, which has 151 members elected to 4-year terms. The parliament meets and works in the Sabor Palace. Globally, Croatia joined the North Atlantic Treaty Organization in 2009 and the European Union in 2013. In terms of the economy,
tourism has become a huge source of income for Croatia since it became an independent country.
It dominates the Croatian service sector and accounts for up to 20% of Croatia's GDP. Many of the biggest tourist attractions can be found throughout the episode. Don't want to waste your time by repeating myself. I can say around 20 million tourists visit Croatia every year, an impressive number for a country of 4 million. In 2009, Croatia joined the list of countries with its own automobile industry when Rimac Automobiles Nevera started beginning production. The company merged with the Bugatti Automobiles in 2021. Interested in buying a Nevera? A new one cost over $2 million. The world's fastest electric car, at least it'll save you on gas costs. And even though Croatia joined the EU in 2013, the euro was not adopted until January 1st, 2023. Their previous currency was the kuna, named after a weasel-like mammal. Done so in memory of a time when Croatians used kuna pelts as a unit of value. I can't even think of a witty segue for that. Let's just move on.
There are 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites within Croatia.
The most prominent include, possibly best known worldwide as the setting of King's Landing on the popular HBO show Game of Thrones, the old city of Dubrovnik has been on the list since 1979 and is often cited as one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, if not the world. It was made a heritage site in recognition of its outstanding medieval architecture and fortified old town. Overcoming a devastating earthquake in 1667 and surviving a massive siege during the Croatian War of Independence, the city has emerged from the ashes to become one of the biggest tourist destinations in the Mediterranean. At least it's never been destroyed by a dragon.
The Palace of Diocletian was built by the Romans at the turn of the 4th century AD.
And later served as the basis of the city of Split. The term palace can be misleading as the structure is massive and more resembles a large fortress. About half of it was for Diocletian's personal use and the rest housed the military garrison. Highlights of the palace include the Cathedral of St. Danius, considered to be the oldest Catholic church in the world, and an authentic 3,500-year-old Egyptian Sphinx. Being an emperor has some perks. And the beautiful Plitvice Lakes National Park is a natural wonder. Over time, water has flowed over the natural limestone and chalk, creating natural dams, which in turn have created a series of connecting lakes, waterfalls, and caves. Over 1 million people visit the park every year. Let's move on to history.
You think I'm crazy, but I know I am.
Croatia has a history that spans thousands of years.
From its early settlements to its modern identity as a European nation, Croatia has a story to tell. The area now known as Croatia has been inhabited since prehistoric times. It's even home to the Krapina Neanderthal site, which has fossilized remains of at least 24 early Neanderthal adults and children. It is the largest and most complete collection of its kind on Earth. In the 2nd century BC, the Romans arrived in the region and made it a part of the Roman Empire. A part of Pannonia, its cities existed as centers of trade and commerce. After the Western Roman Empire collapsed in 476, Julius Nepos briefly ruled the land from Diocletian's palace before being controlled by the Ostrogoths until 535, when Justinian I added the territory to the Byzantine Empire.
In the early medieval period, Croatia saw the rise of several kingdoms and duchies,
with the most notable being the Kingdom of Croatia, which established itself as a Christian state. But medieval Croatia faced many challenges from outside threats, including invasions by the Ottoman Empire. The region saw centuries of conflicts and wars, with periods of both independence and foreign domination. In the 19th century, Croatia became a part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and it experienced a period of cultural and economic growth. Croatian intellectuals such as Ludovic Guy played a vital role in the country's cultural and artistic development during this time.
The 20th century brought difficult times for Croatia.
It was part of various larger countries, including the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. Under Austria-Hungary rule in World War I, Croatia suffered over 200,000 losses in soldiers and civilian lives. Croat soldiers fought mainly on the Serbian, Eastern, and Italian fronts. The Axis occupation of Yugoslavia in 1941 allowed for Croatian radical right Ustaše to come into power, forming the independent state of Croatia led by Ante Pavelić. The Ustaše enacted racial laws and formed 8 concentration camps targeting minority Serbs, Romas, and Jewish populations, killing hundreds of thousands of people. Some Croatians resisted and joined the partisans led by the aforementioned Josip Broz Tito, who fought against the Ustaše regime and the Axis powers, eventually liberating Croatia and establishing a socialist Yugoslavia. After decades of Yugoslavian rule, on May 2, 1991, Croatian parliament voted for independence from Yugoslavia, with over 93% of the Croatian people voting for independence. Independence was declared on June 25, 1991.
Of course, the Yugoslavian power base in Serbia was not about to let them leave, leading to the Croatian War of Independence.
The war was characterized by widespread violence, including ethnic cleansing, war crimes, and atrocities committed against civilian populations. It resulted in significant loss of life, displacement of populations, and extensive destruction of infrastructure. The conflict ended with the signing of the Dayton Agreement in 1995, which established the current borders of Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina. The war had devastating humanitarian consequences, with tens of thousands of people killed and hundreds of thousands displaced from their homes. It left deep scars on Croatian society and continues to impact the region to this day, with efforts ongoing to reconcile and heal the wounds of the conflict.
Here's to the good days, here's to the sorrows.
There are a ton of interesting facts about Croatia that just couldn't find a home in the previous sections.
Pula Arena is the only remaining Roman amphitheater to have 4 side towers entirely preserved. Built between 27 BC and 68 AD, it is among the world's 6 largest surviving Roman arenas. In its heyday, it could seat 23,000 spectators. In a world fascinated with the size of things, the Guinness World Record for the world's smallest town is the Croatian town of Hum. Situated in the heart of Istria, Hum is a town with only 2 streets and 3 rows of houses. There are currently 30 people living in Hum, give or take a few. One of the world's most interesting museums has to be Zagreb's Museum of Broken Relationships. People go there to see items that left a severe mark on the hearts of the people who donated them. Why go? Because breaking up is hard to do. Croatia is a huge player in the global community, from its people to its innovation. Be sure to check out our other videos. Until then, thank you for watching and taking time out of your day to explore our global community.